Bad cell habits. Conversation's worst enemy. To begin, the irony of this blurb is not lost on me. I've used my phone to produce this content's audio and visual components, and many of you are possibly watching it on a mobile device. So with that, consider this all a partial disclaimer. I don't know. There is a behavior, though, amongst people of all manner of ages and all manner of demographics that revolves around the use of their mobile device in the company of others. I firmly believe that most of us are actually pretty well aware of the infractions and poor social etiquette surrounding this topic, but let's just remind ourselves here nonetheless. Now, I'm not trained or learned enough to dive deeply into the psychology of why people are addicted to checking and spending time on their mobile device, but a quick, unprofessional take? You might look at coping with social anxiety, Pavlovian reaction, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in a world that just fails to prime our excitement the same anymore. Whatever the case may be, aforementioned or not, it's no excuse to be rude. But the why is not really what this is about, so let's glaze over all of that and dig into the most glaring miscarriages of mobile etiquette. To begin, we have the admittingly innocent habit of fact-checking. Now that is the conversations that require a bit of thinking, or exploring of facts, names, or trivia, where we're just too quick to look up every questionable morsel of information with ourselves. Now, granted, that's not necessarily rude, and in all fairness, it can be handy sometimes, but mostly we're just cheating our brain power and our imagination when we do it too often. Next is where the mobile has replaced our ability to find things to even talk about. For instance, I'll see 2 to 5 people sitting at a table, surrounded by televisions and a cold platter of nachos and warm pints of beer, all staring into their phones, not speaking to or acknowledging each other until one of them pipes up with a lowbrow, unfunny meme for the group to briefly look at. Memes are overrated, by the way. I'm just saying that. But we can return to that in another blurb. So lastly, what's the worst of all mobile offenses? Ready? When one is directly speaking to somebody and the listener flagrantly whips out their phone unprompted by anything to do with the conversation, literally while being spoken to, and begins to check messages or scroll their feed, disengaging from the conversation. That, sadly, is not as rare an occurrence as I would hope. Brutal. So what's the solution? I actually don't know that we really solve any of this, but I would settle for mitigating. Try keeping your phone in your jacket pocket instead of on the table. That'll cut down on the reflex to grab it whenever there is a natural lull in the conversation or activity. Another tip would be to turn the data or Wi-Fi off when you're at a restaurant or pub. If you really must look something up, then take the time to turn it back on, but make your brain have to work for it. Thirdly, make it a point to work into the conversation that you are not addicted to poring over your mobile, that you, as a point of pride, are amongst those pushing back against the dependency of that small little electronic device. This way, you'll be compelled to maintain that boast, at least while you're in front of everybody. Listen, it's a great technology, don't get me wrong, and it can enrich many facets of our lives, including, yes, being social. But I promise you, we are all far, far more interesting without it.